Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 1 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subtab. Scroll down to grade 1 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter probability and statistics. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions. So here I am on grade 1 math. Chapter we are on is probability and statistics. The lessons we're going to start with is more, less, and equally like. Let's just start with the first lesson, that is more equally likely. Okay, let's just start with the first example on more likely to land. So let's just look at the spinner. The spinner has two colors, yellow and blue. So most of the portion of the spinner is blue and the smaller portion is yellow. So the this one that has the more portion is the one where the spinner more likely to land. Got it? So just look at the spinner. The blue part is larger than the yellow part, right? So more of the spinner is blue than yellow. The spinner is more likely to on blue because the most portion of the spinner is blue, so it will more likely to land on blue. Got it? So the more portion has the more chances to land on. Let's just start with the test questions. On which color is the spinner less likely to land? So we look at the spinner. Most of the spinner is yellow, right? The less portion is blue. So that means it will less likely to land on blue. So it will less likely to land. The one that has the smaller portion has the less likely to land. So the correct option is blue. On which color is the spinner more likely to land? So just look at the spinner. The spinner is right, green and blue. So green color, the spinner has green more color than blue. So that means it will most likely to land on green. Got it? Because the spinner has more portion. So the more portion on the spinner is green, so it will more likely to land on green. Option number two is the correct. On which color is the spinner more likely to land? So the spinner has more portion blue than yellow. So it will be more likely to land on yellow. Sorry. The more portion on the spinner is blue. So it will more likely to land on blue. The correct option is blue. Option number two is the correct option. On which color is the spinner more likely? It will more likely to land on blue because of the portion on the spinner is blue. Very good. And which color is the spinner more likely to land? Green or pink? Which is the correct option? The spinner has the more portion that is pink, right? So it will more likely to land on pink. Option number two is the correct option. Very good. On which color is the spinner more likely to land? It will more likely to land on the correct option is blue. It will more likely to land on blue. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself. Let me just move on to the next lesson is certain, probable, unlikely, and improbable. How likely is that the spinner will land on a blue space? But we can't see the spinner here. I do. Let's just start with a test. How likely is that the spinner will land on this? But which one we have to see? Okay, this spinner, right? Count the total portions on the spinner. The spinner has, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. The total portions on the spinner are 10. Now count the ones that are pink. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the orange is 1, 2, 3, 6. So the question is likely is that the spinner will land on a pink space. So the spinner has smaller pink portion than orange, isn't it? Because you have 6 orange portions and 4 pink. So spinner has more orange portion than pink. So that means it is unlikely to land on pink because the spinner has smaller portion of pink than orange. So it is unlikely to land on pink. The correct option is unlikely. Option number 2 it. How likely is that the spinner will land on a pink space? So just this is the right. I think this is the spinner. You can see the whole spinner is pink, right? So whenever you spin, it will certainly land on pink because most of the spinner is pink. Because most of the spinner is certain. The correct option is certain option. Okay, let's see which is the spinner now. Count the number of equal parts of the spinner. There are 10 equal parts. Wait, let me inform the administrator we can't see this, the spinners, so that they can fix this as soon as possible and we can work on this. Let me just copy the link and then send this on WhatsApp web. Okay, here is the link. Because this way we can't, since we can see we can't see the full spinner, so how can we do, isn't it? How likely is that the spinner will land on blue space? I think we can see this spinner, the most portion of this spinner, right? So the most portion of the spinner is like all the spinner is orange from here. All the spinner is orange, right? The question is how likely is that the spinner will land on blue space? Do we have any blue space on this spinner? We do not have any portion on the spinner is blue. So option is impossible because we do not have any blue portion here, right? So that is impossible because we do not have any. We do not have any blue portion on the spinners. Impossible to land on blue color. Got it? Okay, the next one is how likely is that the spinner will land on yellow space? Now, in this case, I can't count the yellow, right? One, two, three, four. I think the four of the portions are pink. The most of the portion is like the four of them are yellow and the rest of them is green. That's what I think, right? Because we can't see the half of the spinner. So I can't guess the answer. Let's just see. Because in the explanation we are given how many portions are many of them are yellow. Okay, count the number of equal parts on spinner. There are 10 equal parts, right? Count how many parts are yellow. 6 parts are yellow and 4 parts are green. So there are more parts that are yellow, so it is probable the spinner will land on yellow because we have more chances to land on yellow, right? Because more portion is yellow. So whenever you spin, probably it will land on yellow, right? The correct option is probable. How likely is that the spinner will land on green space? I'm selecting the wrong options so that we can see the explanation because we can't see the spinner. The spinner does not have any green parts, right? Because all the spinner is blue. Got it? So it is impossible the spinner to land on green. Why? Because all the spinner is blue, so it is impossible to land on green, right? Uh, Let me just explain. We are given four words here: certain, probable, unlikely, and impossible. Certainly, whenever you spin, you will land on the same color. This happens when all the spinner have exactly the same color, right? If the whole spinner is green, whenever you spin, you will land on green. So that means certainly you will land on green, right? And impossible is if all the spinner is green, you do not have any blue portion. So it is impossible to land on blue. Never ever it will happen. Why? Because the spinner has no blue portion. Got it? Now for the probable and likely. Probable is the case when you have one that has more portion than other. Like for example, yellow has portions and green has two portions. So probably we chances to land on yellow color. Have more portion is yellow, right? This is the case for probable. And unlikely is it is unlikely to land on green. We have very less chances to land on green. So it would be unlikely to land on green. Got it? Let's just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is mod and what is the range? Find the greatest number, right? The greatest number is 7. The greatest number in the given data is 7 and the smallest number in the given data is 1, right? So we have to subtract the least greatest number. Basically, the range is the difference between the greatest and the smallest number in the given data. That is the definition of the range. The definition of the range is difference between the greatest number and the smallest number in the given data. So the greatest number in the given data is 7, right? And the number is 1. So the difference, what's wrong? The difference between the greatest and smallest digit is 7 minus 1. Range of the data is the range of the given data is 6. Got it? Let's just start questions. Let's just start with the test questions. What is the mod? Mod is that appears the most of the time in the given data. That is the definition of the mod. Mod is the number that appears the most of the time in the given data. Now look at the data. I have only two numbers given, 8 and 9. So 8 appears 1, 2, we can see 8 three times in the given data. 9 appears two times. Which number appears the most of the time? 8 is the number that can appears the most of the time. The mod of the data is 8. Got it? That means mod is the number that appears the most of the time in the given. What is the mod? Mod is the number that appears. Mod is the number that appears the most of the time in the given data. Here you have 5 that appears two times. Then here you have 7 that appear two times. 1, 2, 3. 1 three times. So that means 1 appear three times in the given data. So the correct option is 1. Mod is 1. What is the range is the difference between the greatest and the smallest number in the given data. So the greatest number is 9. The greatest number is 9. The smallest number is 1, right? We need to find the range is the difference between the greatest and the smallest number. That is 9 minus 1. So 1 is 8. So the range of data is 8. So the correct option is 8. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is the mod? Mod is the number that appears the most of the time in the given data. So which number appears the most of the time? The mod is 6 because 6 is the number that appears the most of the time. The correct option is 6. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the range? Range is the number that is the difference between the greatest and the least number, right? So the greatest is 8. The greatest number in the data is 8 and the least number is 2. So the difference between the greatest and least is 6 it is, right? Because 8 minus 2 is 6, not 5. So the mod, no, the range of the given data is 6. The correct option is 6. Option number 3 is the correct option. The next one is what is the range? So which is the correct option? So which is the greatest number in the given data? 9, right? And the least number is 0. And their difference is 9. The correct option is 9. What is the mod? Mod is the number that up to time in the given data. 10 is the number that appears three times in the given data. And 9 appears two. 9 is the number that appears the 10 is the number that appears the most of the mod. The correct option is 10. Option number 3 is the correct option. What is the mod? Mod is the number that appears the most of the time in the given data. Nine is the number that appears the most time, so the mod is 9. What is the range? Range is the difference between the least and the greatest number. That is 9 minus 0. Very good. 9 it is. The range of the given data is 9. Where is 10? Oh, the range is 10. 10 minus. Okay, got it. What is the mod? Mod is the number that appears the most of the time. So 3 is the number that appears the most of the time. The correct option. What is mod? Mod is the number that appears the most of the time in the given data. So what is mod? That is 7. The correct option is 7. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 1 math. Chapter we were working on is probability and statistics. The lessons we have covered today are more or less likely, certain, probable, unlikely, and impossible, and then mod and range. So make sure before the next session, complete all the practice questions for the lessons. Did that is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of the lessons, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you, or either you can write them down in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. So, any questions you can. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. Any questions? No questions? Okay, then that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye, everyone.